I think it's working now.
Yeah. Uh, Hi all. We are in middle of this second wave of the pandemic, and all of us are going through a very different collective psyche or individual different issues or collective stress that all of us are facing. So we at I Am Ranchi thought we are in process of launching one center for well-being which is anchored in neuroscience, and we thought we should not wait for the launch of the center, and it's the right time where we can collectively contribute to bring some insights from neuroscience or psychology which would have certain way forward to help our entire citizens to beat this pandemic in a more effective manner. The idea of this series that we are launching today is we invite various experts from different professions, especially professions where scenario or circumstances are something similar to what we as the normal citizens are experiencing right now in the pandemic. And by speaking to these experts, we might able to get certain ways in which our attitude and approach can be crafted so that we together can survive this uh, pandemic challenge by our approach for mental health. Today, on the first series of this lecture, we have with us Hemant Gupta, who is IIT pass out, who is IIT Bombay alumni, and currently Hemant leads the Tata Steel from TSF, the Tata Steel Adventure Foundation, and Hemant was engineer with Tata Steel, and with his personal passion inspired by Bachendri Pal ma'am, he joined TSF. And now he completely look after this, and it's basically comes because he's by his heart mountaineer and climber, and he has successfully climbed Mount Everest in 2017, and he has a experience of climbing all such high high peaks where probably the challenges are similar to what we are facing in pandemic. I mean, how to wait for a right window opportunity. Like we are right now lockdown, I think climbers are locked down in their base camps or higher camps, waiting for the right window to go on peak. In the 8,000 meters peaks, I mean, oxygen levels are very, very, they drop drastically. There is a issues in breathing, and they have to overcome the challenges. There is a the way we all have fear right now. Any day we can caught COVID, and there's always a probability of mortality. And something similar, Hemant face every time we go on climbing the peak, where there is always chance of some. I mean, you can have a mountain. Weather problems, or there is a the path is very risky. I mean, anything can happen, and we all know what are kind of a death ratios are there for the successful climber. See, one successful climber, there is certain percentage where we see the mortality. So in a way the climber community face a similar challenges, and what we are experiencing as collective right now, probably second time, maybe during first or sometime, but the second time has more issues, and something that Hemant is facing throughout his career. So in this small interaction, we would try to understand how Hemant faces his mountaineering challenges, the way he deals with the stress and anxiety and complexity associated with it, and maybe then Professor Tanushri, who's a neuroscience expert, would able to link that with the psychological aspect of Hemant's strength and resilience, and me able to give us some insight how that can help us in pandemic. Welcome Hemant, welcome Professor Tanushri. And first question that we would start with Hemant is a generic one. I mean, since many of us are new to this field, I mean, not everybody has an idea of what it takes to be a climber and what it takes to be a professional mountaineer. Our first question is that could you explain to audience what are the challenges that you face when you go for a high peak, especially 8,000 meters peak, and how that scenarios similar to what maybe citizens are facing right now in pandemic has some kind of impact.
Yeah, hi Gaurav. Hello Tanushree ma'am. So pleasure to be here. So yeah, Gaurav rightly said so being in the mountain, being in the mountain, we face with lot of challenges, and especially the world above 8,000 meter. It's a
Yeah,
complete different world altogether because so like one of the biggest challenge with the high altitude that comes is the lack of oxygen. Like as you go higher and higher, like the air pressure drops and the oxygen levels are dropping. So just to imagine that at the summit of Mount Everest, like which is 8,848 meters, the air pressure is just the 33% of the sea level. So you have just a one third of the oxygen available what you have at the sea level. So that with that there are a lot of challenges, and above 8,000 meter we also call it death zone because how much fit you are, how much acclimatized you are. If you are at that altitude without any supplementary oxygen, then your body cells are slowly dying. So you are it takes a lot of time to recover. So that's why you have to minimize your time over there to sustain and survive yourself. So and with this as we go higher there are other challenges in terms of weather, like extreme cold conditions. Temperature can go as low as -40 -50 degrees Celsius, which can cause frostbite or severe hypothermia. Wind speeds can be more than 150 kilometer per hour to 200 kilometer per hour. So you have to find a suitable weather window when you can actually attempt a peak, because above 8,000 meters there is a certain jet winds. If you go in that winds and with that low temperature, the chill factor would be so high that you will not be able to survive. Even if you are walking, your body will not generate sufficient heat. How much layers maybe you can wear. So that's why you have to find a reasonable winds also. And
okay.
apart from this, then the challenges of terrain, like you have to climb in ice, you have to climb in snow. So the hazards, like there can be avalanches, there can be crevasses. So there are a lot of things which are going over there. But with this, the other challenges you have when you are climbing. So the expedition for normally for any 8,000 meter peak takes somewhere between 35 like 45 days to 60 days. So it's a lot of time. Like you are away from your comfort of your home for two
Hmm.
months. Like you are staying in a tent, you are away from your family. So sometimes people have this homesickness, they have this anxiety because there are so many things at stake. Because once you are there, so you have your own personal expectation that you have to reach the summit, and people and friends around you are expecting, and you want to achieve that goal. And also you have a lot of training and lot of preparation has already been went by just to be there. So you any but in any condition you want to reach the summit. And uh, uh, and because you have that thing, so certain times there is anxiety, the weather is not supporting you, you're not finding a good weather window when you can actually climb the peak. So you have to deal with all this anxiety, peer pressure, and also take a calculative decision, because in the end it's about the saving your life. It's not that the summit is important. If I go towards the summit and if I never come back, then I think it's of no point, because you have to take those decisions whether it may happen like you are not personally feeling well and maybe you are 200 meters away from the summit. So turning at that point is one of the most difficult decision maybe you have to take in your life. But if you don't take that decision, maybe you will not survive again to come back. So mountains are there for like so many years. So we always say in the mountain, like it's optional to go up, but necessary to come down. So you have to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
safe and sound overcoming these challenges.
Yeah, I think whatever you explain the harsh conditions and dynamic conditions that mountaineers face probably day in and day out when you're on expedition. I think probably something we feel similar right now. You know, we have not experienced mountaineering, but right now we all are trapped at our houses, being fearful about our nears, what near our land. For our own safety, we have no clear idea, you know, how things are turning out. So our second question is that knowing that all this fear exists there in mountain, you know, all these anxieties are out there. How you really deal this entire uncertainty, ambiguity, and fear of death, and chances that you may never come back. that always exists for any climber. So what is the approach with which you deal that? Because that may help us right now to understand how we should face our life where there is a lot of uncertainty.
Right. So, like, whenever I speak about going to the expedition, so my mother is the one who is always most fearful because she always thinks there is always a danger. It's all so definitely there is a danger in the mountains. There is a risk in the mountains. There is risk when we go for such expedition. But if you know the risk well in advance, and I think you are better prepared for the risk. If you know your hazards. So, like normally, how we categorize the hazards, there are two types of hazards. One is the objective hazards, the hazards which are in the nature, like it can be moving water, like you can go in a river, you can
Yeah.
yeah, or it can be avalanches, it can be a crevasses, it can be a forest fire. So hazards which are directly visible, like the objective ones. But the second types of hazards are more of a subjective in kind, like which are depending on the human behavior. Like if I am not feeling well, I am not properly acclimatized, still I'm pushing myself going upward, but in that situation I should go down because my body is not reacting to the altitude, or not keeping the self organization. Like you have to go for the summit push, and maybe you forget your summit gloves, or you forget your sunglasses. So just imagine, like
Yeah.
you are at that altitude, you don't have sunglasses, then you definitely you will face snow blindness. So the hazards which can happen with the human mistakes,
Error.
so you have to
Okay.
minimize them, because in our daily life, like the things which we are facing right now, so like it's in a lockdown, people are saying you have to wear a mask, avoid going out, but sometimes we lose that alertness, or maybe sometimes just we are bored of getting like more than a year have been passed, and we feel like how long will it go. So sometimes we lose this patience, and maybe try to make some mistakes which can cause a serious trouble in future. So, but as like rightly said, like taking even all those measures, taking all the safety precautions, there can be a accident in the end. Like there can be a thing which you haven't anticipated. Like when we were climbing, so my first attempt on Everest was in 2015, but there was an earthquake in Nepal,
Oh,
and more than 20 people died in the base camp at that time. But that earthquake was one of those events which doesn't happen very regularly. And even like when the earthquake ends, we were lucky that we got survived, and like and decision to go back again after 2 years was mainly on that reason that this thing will not happen again and again, and we were lucky that we got saved ourselves that time. So whatever be the situation, like how much safety precautions you can take, but there is always a risk of that thing. So I think in the end you have to from your side you do your best, and then I think leave it to the final supreme power. If you are taking all the steps you should take, and then I think then just accept what comes in the way, because in the end we should not feel that if something happens to us कि काश मैंने ये कर लिया होता, वो अगर टेंडेंसी नहीं रहे, वो हमारा बोलने को नहीं बचे कि मैं from my side I have done everything right which was possible, and then in the end what happens is like it was not in our hands.
that is such a profound insight, Hemant. I mean, whole idea to face such challenges, whether it's pandemic or mountaineering, is to avoid any human errors that are possible and then accept whatever comes in life, so that at least there's no sense of regret that we would have done something that was really profound at that time. And this classification of human errors and things that are beyond our control. I mean, that acceptance, like, is something I think all can think about in the current condition. Now, third thing I have to ask you is that I've seen many mountaineering clips, and especially in Everest, I have heard you have, because it's such a high altitude and with all snow and low temperature, previous accidents and people who have died, I mean, their dead bodies are uh, perfectly preserved out there. And when you're climbing the mountain, you see death around you, and you must be imagining yourself at times in that picture, and how you deal with this grief that might be existing in this what might be looking as a challenging adventure.
Right. So it's I think it's very difficult. Like so, I remember in my Everest expedition in 15 and 17 both. So there were deaths. So now, like as you mentioned, there are bodies which are preserved from expeditions which are very old. So in 2017, there was one body which was found, maybe which would have been more than 20, 30 years old. So once you see these things, like I think it deeply shakens you. Like if for a moment, it shakes you from inside. But at the same time, you have to maintain that calmness and composure because. So when I was going on my final summit push in 2017, so I saw few people trying to bring one body down. So at that moment, you have that gratitudeness towards the mountain gods that like thank God, like till now we are safe and we don't have to lose the focus, and so far everything good, and we don't want to be in that position. But it's a very difficult moment, and uh, if you feel bad, but you have to move on from that state as soon as possible. But once you lose, and it's easy to say, I think, because once you lose your close one, it's very, very difficult and takes time. You have to accept those things, and it takes time. So I think it's more about how you respond to the situation. At least be more calm and composed for that moment, and just focus on your goal and improve your alertness. Because once you see this, you have to be more alert now because you don't want to be in the same condition.
I think, Hemant, one really important point you made. I mean, obviously, grief is difficult, and we all have to accept our emotions. But what you made a very interesting point was that when you are climbing, probably a gratitude is what drives you, which really help you to face the grief at times. Because while there is all around grief right now in pandemic, I think there's a lot of gratitude also out there, and probably can express that. I think what I can see in your profession is that that really help you move forward, path forward in your climbing. Other than the next question, which might have again a relevance for the pandemic, is that many times as a mountaineer, you wait for the right window, and I've heard like at times it's 10 days, 15 days. You are in a minus degree temperatures and lock yourself in a camp, and you don't know when that day would come for which you have prepared all these days, and at the same time you have to maintain yourself so that you can face that day. So how you manage that anxiety of waiting for that thing? I mean,
So there are a lot of moments when you have that anxiety, and sometimes living, as I mentioned earlier, living in the base camp can be very taxing on your mind and your body because you are at that moment. But I think if you so for me, like the maximum number of books which I have read, maybe in number of for number of days, it was in the average base camp. Like I think I finished 5 or 6 books. So I think when everything is negative surrounding you, I think be engage yourself in the positive things or things. So for me, like when I used to read a lot of books, I used to listen to some good music because even in the base camp, so there if you read the mountaineering expedition stories, so there is lot of talk about finding the good window, who will go first. So even there is a race between the people because the weather wind summit window is short, and all the people wants to go to the summit. And if you go, so in our kitchen tent also, we used to sit and eat together, do for our lunch and for our dinners. But between the meals also, you will find people always talking, like, and then they create more anxiety, more pressure. Like, दो दिन में weather खुलने वाला है. Someone will say they have read a weather report, and sometimes it's not a true news. So maybe avoiding those conversations and maybe investing yourself in something more meaningful. And I think similarly in nowadays also, if you open any news channel, if you read a newspaper, or if you see your WhatsApp or Facebook, everything is surrounded by full of negativity. So in that scenario, maybe doing something which make you more like more better, like you feel more happy about it, like which soothe you emotionally and mentally. And also in case anyone needs help, then helping in a way, in a constructive way, like I checked your status some time back when you shared, like instead of people just forwarding the message, maybe try to see whether these numbers are authentic or not. So if you try to help in such a way that it's useful for them. So in the base camp also, like as I mentioned, apart from this, if we feel like we could be of any help, then we can actively engage our time over there instead of just have that moments of anxiety and discussing always like when we'll summit. Because in the end, if mountain gods wants to be you to be on the summit, then only you can reach there. If summit is not in our not in your luck, then I think, because in the end there is something called 1% of the luck. If
Mm.
everything can go well, and maybe on the last day weather can turn bad, and you may be like you may not reach your summit. So that's why, like, yeah.
So I think so. There is somewhere acceptance of uncertainty is there. I mean, you do what is your best and leave rest on mountain god. And what I could also get is that at times this timeline really gives us anxiety. So good part is to immerse ourselves in given moment. I mean, we don't know what it's coming. So at least what we know is that what we have right now, and I think that's what you generally do with engaging in books, reading, or when you're waiting at base camp. So I think that was also very interesting insight. Now, since you're continuously mentioning mountains as mountaineering god, and I can see the sacred relationship that you and I have seen that in most of the mountaineers and climbers that they have with mountains. I somewhere feel the current pandemic has to do something close to our nature. I mean, we are all experiencing that level, some anger or I don't know, to philosophize it. I mean, in technical terms, it's just a disturbance in natural cycle somewhere. But we do being very close to mountain and having that sacred relationship. What is your? I mean, can you just describe your relationship with Mother Nature or mountain god? What it means? That may help us right now, all of us, to understand what is happening. I mean, the same mountain you touch the feet. I mean, it create the storm. Or same mountain which all kills your colleagues. I mean, so how what is that relationship?
Yeah, so every time I come from the mountaineering expedition, I feel I become so more humble, like, because humility is the, because once we are facing those lofty peaks, giant peaks, we always feel ourselves as a tiny dot, because the mountains which are found millions of years before, we are in this humanity is not very old, and like we as an individual maybe more not hardly like less than 100 years. So we have a very limited lifespan, and so sometimes having those your false self egos, don't, we should not insert them. And other is like what we are facing these days is mostly created by the humanity itself. Like the glaciers are met. So there is. So I was reading a lot of articles. Don't know how much is true, but the pandemic situation is also because of the some of the things, like when we are seeing our tree for deforestation happening, or the rate at which glaciers are melting. So maybe they are also contributing in this spread, like which is spreading like a wildfire. So I think we all, as a humans, have to maintain that sustainable relationship with the nature, where whatever we are consuming, we try to give it back, or maybe reducing the rate of consumption, because if we see the rate, it has drastically increased over past few centuries, maybe past 200, 300 years. So because in the end, we all have to be live in this world, keeping the harmony with the nature itself.
I think again there was such an interesting insight from what you shared. I mean, every time you go to mountain, you come back more humble. So I think what all of us are, and that experience of somebody making us humble is always going to be tough, and that's what we as a humanity is going through right now. Pandemic uh, making us to realize who we are. I mean, we had that false sense of ego of controlling everything, and I think we can learn from mountaineers how to be that humble with the nature and yet stay in synergy and harmony with the nature. I think that was also exciting. I think all answers were extremely insightful, and I'm eagerly looking forward to Professor Tanushri to to help us to unfold what Hemant shared right now, various insights that that help him to deal the mountaineering challenges, and maybe that might be the case with most of the mountaineers. how, ma'am, you would like to connect that with uh, overall what we all are facing right now?
Yeah, Hemant, it was at the beginning. Let me really thank you. It was very insightful. I mean, and interesting also the way you took us through your expeditions of trekking. So what I understood basically is whether it be the high altitude or whether we are living where we are, the threat to survival exists everywhere, right? And the point is how we tackle it and how we look towards it is where the actual survival actually exists. So the idea is basically to wait patiently for the unfavorable time to actually pass by, and during that time, what's very important, what we learn from you is that decision should be directed towards survival, right? So we should be more focused towards our survival, and every other thing becomes optional because if you survive, you have the world with you, right? So it's very important that you stay calm, have hope, and see through these rough times with calm and waiting for the time to pass by. So knowing the risk and hazards basically helps you to keep you better prepared to face such situations. So it makes a lot of sense that you actually pay attention to what is the fact and keep away from negativity and rumors so that you're better prepared, because the more you know how to deal with the situation, the more you increase your chances of survival, right? And you do it in a much more scientific and a better way. And if I summarize in exactly what you have spoken and how it relates to the situation that we are going through presently, so it's basically survival first, and that can be achieved by accepting the uncertainty. So we've got to accept that yes, we are going through uncertain times, and we really need to concentrate and focus on our own survival. Next is we need to believe in oneself and also the self efficacy that we have, right? So believe that yes, we can do it and we will see this time through, keeping our hopes high, which is also very important because this will definitely we will overcome with all the cumulative efforts that we're putting in. We have to nurture the desire and will to bounce back, and that's very very important, right? So we've got to believe in it and keep our hopes alive, and also nurture a sense of gratitude for what we have and what we actually are staying with and living with, and also to engage in positivity and avoid rumors and all negativity that can happen. And at the end, what we have to live is that we actually need to live a life which is more meaningful and happy. And for that, it's very important that we take these points into cognizance and make sure that we don't land up into response fatigue. So that's my learning or my takeaway, which I've got from what you've spoken and how I could connect it with the pandemic and the situation that we're going through now presently.
Thanks a lot, Professor Tanushree and Hemant. Our sincere gratitude for taking your time out and in this very small interaction, sharing word of wisdom which climber community can give us normal citizens to deal in this pandemic, and which might be what you do day in day out, but for us it's extraordinary. Hemant, we'll conclude with anything that you want to share with audience, a last message or something, and
So first of all, thank you, ma'am, for beautifully capturing it, and thank you, Gaurav, for giving me this opportunity. And I think we all have to, we all are facing a severe crisis, so we have to be more patient and resilient, and I think we all can bounce back from this, and maybe and hope that we have a better future going ahead. So let's be more patient and follow all the protocols. And wish everyone a safe health and well-being in your families and friends. Thanks once again. Yeah.
We're
thank
sure
you,
we will
ma'am.
overcome this situation. Thank you, Hemant.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Anushri,
Thank you,
and for
Gaurav.
audience. We would come back with the next series very soon with them. Thanks a lot.